Hello, and we are here with the SFFRomCast for another flash interview for you guys. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing.
All right, thank you. I'm Marv, and I'm the author of a fantasy novel. It's coming out in October. It's titled Firstborn of the Sun. It's an epic fantasy adventure with romance in it, and it's not a retelling, but more like inspired by a lot of Yoruba stories and myths and histories, and just bringing that into a world that is complex with politics and adventure and the romance of will they one day.
That's what we love. Will they, won't they?
Right. So you've been speaking on the Romantasy panel today. How did you get involved with the festival, and what other things you plan to do when you're here?
I really like the space. Actually, it's nothing like I expected it to be. I got involved when Andy reached out to me. So she had sent a note, I think earlier in the year, just saying, would like for you to do this. And I thought, sure, why not? I mean, I will come out here into the woods.
Yes,
yeah.
It looks very scenic. I feel like this is the kind of place you would want to do something that has to do, anything that has to do with fantasy.
Yes.
Just because you can just wander around and maybe meet a fae.
Yeah. Have you been over the little bridge?
I'm just about to go right after this. I'm gonna go there. I heard it's really stunning.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really nice place as well. But and there are a few more panels I think going on, so I'm gonna check those out. I'm gonna buy some pizza.
We have pizza here.
I heard it's really good.
Oh. But yeah, maybe just stick to one between several.
It's a whole pizza.
It's a big old pizza. Eyes bigger than belly. We digress already. So yeah, we were chatting earlier about your stunning photo shoot on TikTok. What inspired you to do the reshoot? Was it the book or?
A bit of the book, and also, so I'm Nigerian, and I try to go home as often as possible. And I was back home in March for my dad's birthday, and just as I was planning the trip, I thought, you know what, I feel like I can do like better than the first one I did, and better in terms of representing the book better. So it is very heavily inspired by Yoruba culture. It's a world where everyone in it is Yoruba, and so I thought, being Yoruba myself and going home and having the opportunity to be in that environment, I can just reshoot something that when you see the picture, you get an idea of what the book's going to be about.
You feel so immersed looking at it. Fantastic.
So it was a no-brainer, and I think it turned out really nice.
Yes, oh God, so we were chatting about it.
It's a fantastic idea because all of the photos are so painfully posed.
Yeah, I look like a lawyer sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did you start reading fantasy romances yourself, and what are some of your favourites?
I think I started first reading just fantasy because at the time when I was much younger, there was kind of a rhythm of what fantasy was like, which is very adventure heavy, which I absolutely love. But as I grew kind of into my teenage years and I started to find books that had more of a stronger romance element to them, I thought, oh, I quite like this. And I think just naturally, and as we're saying on the panel just earlier, because the women in those books, as a result of the fact that they have romance in them, tend to have a bit more agency and more dialogue. Like they're more than just side characters. And so it was easy to find female representation that way with characters, but still in a fantasy world. It's unfortunate that it's only, or for sometimes it's only in fact when you bring in romance that they give women agency. Ideally I would want to see epic fantasy with women already having that agency, whether or not they have romantic interest. And I try to do that with some of the main characters in my book, because there's one of the point of view characters, she's an assassin, and she's really not here for the love. She has a job to do.
We're here for her.
She's really cool, she's really sexy, everyone falls in love with her, but she's just like, this is not what she's here for.
This is it.
Like, she has a mission, and that is in contrast to the main character who is going around chasing this boy. But just allowing women to exist in kind of different forms is something that I want to see, and which is kind of why I've written this book in the way that I've written it as well. And so I think it was just a natural progression to looking for representation more than looking for the romance, and then the romance was just an added plus. And I can't
bonus.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
can't fight that. Love that.
Yeah, we're here for it every day. So we've been doing a ballot with everybody who's come in. We've got a little card with all the tropes on it.
Okay.
So yeah, what is your favourite fantasy trope or fantasy romance trope, and why?
Okay. Oh, I love the bodyguard. I was gonna say love triangle, but then I saw the bodyguard. I love the bodyguard. If I had a bodyguard, I would fall in love with him.
Yes, you definitely would. They're just for me.
It's
fantastic.
impossible. I should not get a bodyguard because I would be in love with him.
Yeah, I thought enemies to lovers would just be everybody, but we've had a few sneaky bodyguards coming through.
No. This reminds me of Whitney Houston's The Bodyguard, and I fell in love with that bodyguard as well.
We all go
which
back to it.
I think she also did.
Yeah, I think we all did. I think we really did.
That's it. Yes. So finally, what can readers look forward to from you next? You said your book's not out till October.
Yeah, so it's out on October 23rd. At the moment, I'm writing book 2, which is on deadline. But I'm really excited for it because I get to take the characters that are quite solid, so I'm not building them from scratch, which is really helpful. I'm hoping that means I write faster, but now just putting them, we've kind of met them in their world. Now we're just seeing them try to overcome the things that they started in book 1. It's almost like there are consequences to some of your decisions.
Yes.
And the story continues.
Yeah.
And so I'm having a lot of fun exploring that. I'm also writing something completely different that I can't talk about too much. However, it is not fantasy. It is speculative.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
See, we cover all kinds.
do.
We don't just do the romantic. But is there romance in it?
There is.
Well, okay.
And I really like this one because in Firstborn, it's friends to lovers, while this one is enemies to lovers. And I found that it was so tricky because with friends to lovers, they can rely on memories to be the foundation of that love. But with enemies to lovers, there's none of that. And so every interaction needs to count.
It's really
towards
hard
the point
one,
where
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, that was fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us,
Oh,
and good luck with it.
Thank you
Comes
so
out.
much. This was fun.